Welcome to MotoGP in 9 minutes. Here is what you need to know today. Barcelona this past weekend delivered one of the most chaotic MotoGP events in recent memory, and I am not exaggerating. 2 red flags in a single race, 3 riders hospitalized, multiple catastrophic crashes, and a journalism scandal that had the entire paddock furious. This was not just another race weekend. This was a perfect storm of bad luck, technical failure, and human error all colliding at once. The biggest story coming out of Catalonia involves Alex Marquez and what can only be described as a terrifying high-speed collision that left everyone in the paddock holding their breath. On lap 12, while Alex was running toe-to-toe with Pedro Acosta, the KTM in front of him suffered a complete engine failure on the back straight. At over 200 miles per hour, Acosta's bike simply cut out. Alex had absolutely no time to react. He was coming in hot, hit the back of Acosta's machine, and the impact sent his bike sideways at enormous speed. He was flung off and landed hard on the grass at the side of the circuit. The medical crews rushed out immediately, and here is the thing that had everyone terrified. Alex was unconscious when they reached him. No one knew his condition. His team did not know. The paddock did not know. The fans in the grandstands did not know. Everyone could only wait and pray. The red flag came out. Racing stopped completely, and the entire circuit held its breath. When the medical team finally confirmed Alex was conscious, the scope of his injuries became clear. A fractured right collarbone that required immediate surgery that same evening, and more seriously, a marginal fracture of the C7 vertebra in his neck. That is the kind of injury that demands careful evaluation and follow-up. He went into surgery that night, and by Monday morning, Gresini announced he had been discharged from hospital. Even better, the team said he was cracking jokes on a video call with them. The man fractured his neck, and he is still having a laugh. You have to respect that mentality. The physical recovery will take time, but his attitude suggests he is going to come back from this stronger than before. Moving on, this is where things get genuinely disturbing. While everyone was still waiting for news on Alex's condition, before any official medical update had been released, before his own team had even made a statement, a Spanish outlet published an article with a photograph of Alex Marquez lying face down on the grass at the side of the circuit. Nobody knew if he was alive. Nobody knew if he was going to be okay. And they published that image anyway. The photograph showed an unconscious rider at his most vulnerable moment, and the outlet chose to use it to drive traffic to their article. Gresini responded immediately and publicly condemned the decision. Their official statement essentially said that doing journalism is something very different from what that outlet had done. The team demanded much greater respect for riders and their families in moments of crisis. It was not just Gresini either. Fans, fellow riders, and other respected journalists from inside the motorsport world all spoke out against the decision. There is an unwritten rule in extreme sports that when a serious accident occurs, you wait for the official announcement from race organizers or the team before publishing anything that could cause distress to an athlete's family. That outlet is not a specialist motorsport publication. It is a general news site that clearly prioritized being first over being decent. The question that hangs over all of this is simple. Are clicks and traffic really worth more than privacy and basic human decency? I think most of us already know the answer to that. Now let us talk about what that photo represented beyond just the single incident. This touches on something much bigger about modern media and the race for engagement at all costs. When you strip away the excuses about newsworthiness and public interest, what you are left with is a cold calculation. An unconscious rider, a desperate family waiting for information, and a general news site that saw an opportunity to drive traffic before anyone else. That is not journalism. That is exploitation. The motorsport community exists in a unique bubble. These riders know each other. They race each other. They travel together. They share common risks. When one of them goes down hard, the entire paddock feels it. There is a responsibility that comes with covering that sport, a duty of care that extends beyond just reporting facts. Media outlets have a choice to make in those critical early moments, and that Spanish outlet made the wrong one. What concerns me is whether this incident will actually change anything. Will there be consequences? Will that outlet face any real fallback from sponsors or the broader journalism community? Or will this just blow over in a few days while the next crisis takes over the headlines? In my view, The MotoGP paddock should remember this when dealing with that outlet in future. Access is a privilege, not a right, and outlets that violate the basic trust of the sport should face real consequences. Switching gears to Jorge Martin, because his Barcelona experience was almost unbelievable in a completely different way. The 2024 world champion arrived in Catalonia in decent spirits after winning at Le Mans the week before. Then something just went catastrophically wrong. He crashed 5 times across the race weekend alone. 5 crashes in 4 days of racing. That is not a normal pattern. That is a rider who has lost something, either with his bike setup or with his own confidence. Then came Monday, the official MotoGP test day, at the same circuit. You might have thought Martin would have taken a step back, evaluated what went wrong, and come back more cautiously. Instead, he was out there again pushing hard. And after an hour and a half, the red flag came out. Martin had crashed for the 6th time at Barcelona in 4 days. 6 crashes. He was taken to the medical center by ambulance. Witnesses reported he was conscious and able to move his limbs, but the medical team put him in a neck brace as a precaution. He was then sent to Dexius University Hospital in Barcelona for further examination. The good news was that no fractures were found. But think about the state of this rider. His body must have been absolutely battered. His confidence probably took a serious hit as well. More concerning for Martin is his championship position. He now sits 15 points behind his own Aprilia teammate Marco Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi is up fighting for wins and points at the front of the grid. Martin is struggling with consistency and crashes. That gap is a major problem going into the rest of the season. Here is what I think is really happening with Martin. 6 crashes in a single event does not happen by accident. Either the bike setup is fundamentally wrong for this circuit, or there is a mental component at play. Barcelona is a track where he has struggled before. The pressure of a tight championship battle could be affecting his judgment. He might be pushing too hard, trying to make something work that is simply not there. The smart move now would be to take a step back, let his body and mind recover properly, and come back fresh for the next round at Mugello in 2 weeks. If he continues this pattern of crashing at every event, the championship is gone. He needs to reset, rebuild his confidence, and get back to the smooth, calculated riding that made him world champion in the first place. The question is whether he has the mental toughness to do that under pressure. There is one more element of the Barcelona chaos that got lost in all the drama. Johan Zarco was also hospitalized following a separate incident during the race restart. He locked his front brake and collected both Luca Marini and Francesco Bagnaia.